Hello, and welcome to Module 1, Unit 3, Lesson 6, Determining Main Idea Using Text and Illustrations, Accessing Books Around the World. Let's take a look at today's learning target. I can determine the main idea of an excerpt from My Librarian is a Camel using evidence from the text and the illustrations. Today we will begin to work with a different type of text called informational text. What do you think the word informational means? What do you already know about reading this type of text? Over the next few days, we are going to spend a lot of time reading and talking about this informational text. It's called My Librarian is a Camel. Let me read the introduction to the book to you. Several years ago, I read a newspaper article about a camel in Kenya that was used to bring books to young people who lived in remote desert villages. I wondered how else books might be brought to children in other parts of the world. My research turned up all sorts of mobile libraries that moved on legs, on wheels, and by other means. I was thrilled to learn how far people would go to put books into the hands of young readers. I began to contact librarians in faraway places. They responded by sharing information, personal stories, and photos of their mobile libraries and of the young people who use them. Over time, I assembled a scrapbook of mobile libraries from all over the world. Developing this book has been a rewarding and exciting experience. From Azerbaijan to Zimbabwe, I discovered people who are passionate about books and who understand the importance of libraries in our lives. One librarian in Azerbaijan explained that the library is as important as air or water. Maybe you have been taking your local library for granted, just as I did. Next time you borrow books, think of how lucky you are to be able to choose from all of those free books and to take home as many as you wish. The librarians and volunteers who bring books by camel or elephant or by boat inspired me. I hope they will inspire you too. Let's take a look at some of the pictures and places that are in this wonderful book, My Librarian is a Camel, so that you can get an idea of what this book might be about. As you're looking at these pictures, what do you notice? What do you wonder? When we're working today, I want you to keep in mind that when authors write about a topic, they have a main idea they want to tell their reader. It's important to read carefully to learn what information the author wants to get across. Let's read and try to use evidence from the text and pictures to figure out the main idea. Children in Peru can receive their books in several different innovative ways. Cadili Ibi, Peru, is an institution that delivers books in bags to families in Lima. Each bag contains 20 books, which families can keep for a month. The books come in 4 different reading levels so that children really learn how to read. This project in Spanish is called el libro compartido en familia, and enables parents to share the joy of books with their children. In small rural communities, books are delivered in wooden suitcases and plastic bags. These suitcases and bags contain books that the community can keep and share for the next 3 months. The number of books in each suitcase depends on the size of the community. There are no library buildings in these small towns, and people gather outside in the plaza to see books they can check out. In the coastal regions, books are sometimes delivered by donkey cart. The books are stored in the reading promoter's home. In the ancient city of Cajamarca, reading promoters from various rural areas select and receive a large collection of books for their area. The program is called Asparuruk. The reading promoter lends these books to his or her neighbors, and after 3 months, a new selection of books goes out to each area. Books in this system are for children and adults. And last but not least, Fe y Alegría brings a collection of children's books to rural schools. The books are brought from school to school by wagon. The children who are excited about browsing through the books when they arrive are turning into avid readers. Now that we have read the text, what do you think about the main idea of this excerpt? I think the main idea is children in Peru can receive books in several different innovative ways. Now let's look at the details from the passage to see if we can support that. Who is the passage about? If I look back at the text, I can see that there are some very specific organizations that this passage is about. The Sedili Ibi, Peru, the ancient city of Cajamarca, Fe y Alegría are all places that bring books to children in Peru. I have included them here. What physical features in the country make it difficult for people to access books? Well, I know from the text that people live in small rural communities. Some people live in the coastal regions that make it particularly difficult for them to get books. And of course, we know from the map that there are many mountains. So here I have included those details in my recording sheet. How do people overcome these difficulties to access books? Well, that's an easy one. One organization delivers books in bags to families. Sometimes families receive books in wooden suitcases and plastic bags. In one place, books are stored in a reading promoter's home to be lent to their neighbors. And of course, we know that Fe y Alegría brings a collection of children's books to rural schools. Sometimes they're brought by wagon. Sometimes they need to be brought by donkey if the people live near a coastal region. I have included all of those details here. In some areas, books are brought in bags and wooden suitcases. In other areas, reading promoters receive a large collection of books to lend. Sometimes books come by donkey cart and sometimes by wagon. What else do you notice when you look at the text and the illustration? Well, we have looked at this map of Peru, and we can see that there are coastal regions and mountains that may make it difficult for people to access books. after looking at the text a little more closely, what can we say about the main idea now? The main idea of this excerpt is children in Peru receive books in several different innovative ways. First, the Sedili Ibi, Peru, is an institution that delivers books in bags to families in Lima. Reading promoters in the ancient city of Cajamarca get large quantities of books to share with their neighbors. And Fe y Alegría brings books to rural schools. This is necessary because there are many small rural communities in Peru. There are some communities along the coastal region and others that live within the mountains. How do people overcome the challenges? Well, in some areas, books are brought in bags and wooden suitcases. In other areas, reading promoters receive a large collection of books to lend. Sometimes books come by donkey cart and sometimes by wagon. The map of Peru shows mountains and coastal regions. This is why children in Peru can access books. Now it's going to be your turn. With a partner in your group, you are going to be using text and illustrations to determine the main idea of a different excerpt from My Librarian is a Camel. You will be looking at page 27 of the book. You're going to discuss the map and think about what you notice and what you already know about maps that will help you understand anything about this country. You will then work in pairs to try this out together. You will read page 27 of My Librarian is a Camel and fill in the details from the text in the recording form, just as I have modeled for you. Pay attention to vocabulary words such as rural, coastal, promoter, wagon, and avid. Use context to figure out what these words mean.